Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, the #1 business comedy business podcast in the world.
What?
Oh, yeah. What?
Let's hear it.
What, Little John? What?
I don't have that one.
Okay.
That's what he says.
I know.
Okay, that's...
I followed it up with okay. But it didn't sound like the Cleveland Indians manager in Major League. We're pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with real raw dog talk. I'm losing my voice as I do the intro.
Oh, good.
That's what you want out of an audio mostly podcast. You want to listen to this audio? Go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts. We're now on.
Kenmore Podcast.
That's
what
for
other
you.
brands are there?
Well, Samsung
Sears.
Podcasts. That's for you with that
Podcast.
inferiority complex that you don't have an iPhone and you want to tell us it's so much better than an iPhone. Well, now this podcast is right on your phone.
Yeah.
Probably
Take that.
Probably forced on your phone. This episode, we've got returning guests, Light Townsend and Robin Pate of Gramco.
Is it?
Greenpoint Research.
Sounds like you don't know. Sounds like you're not sure.
Parton? It shouldn't be that hard to say out loud, but Robin Pate and Light Townsend, the CMO and Chief Legal Counsel for Greenpoint Research,
Busy
Gramco,
job.
a lot of other brands they got going on. If you're watching this on video, we're whores and we're wearing the swag.
Yeah. Separate ideas.
We've got it everywhere. This episode's brought to you by our sponsor, which is Biome, your gut biome test. Get gut intelligence tests and supplements with a link in the description to get health insights, personal food recommendations, precision supplements formulated just for you. Hit the link. You'll get 70%
really
off.
good. Good
I'm
stuff.
about to do it. I'm about to send my poop in. Get tested. You're going to have to prick me.
You've been talking about it for a long time.
I know, but now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it like
do it.
Pruitt used to do it. As a saying my old roommate used to say that I never understood. Let's get this party started. Hotty toddy, War Eagle, baby. Woo!
My sweat equity. Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. Sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
On here.
She joined.
Here, yes.
Okay.
Oh, she just didn't want to break this good conversation.
This woman
Oh
bashing
no,
you're doing.
you guys know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just listening.
Can we clip that out?
That
We're
is
not
the
recording,
most
are we?
Facetious statement ever. No, we are recording. It's in.
Oh, this is all in. I say keep all of this in because I think this is important.
Yeah, it's only been the last 30 seconds or so.
Well, it's the human condition. I understand. I see things differently as other people I'm talking to. I understand that. I don't think everybody. If you really want to make a big extrapolation of that argument, no one really sees anything the same POV as the other person. We're not talking about porn. I know you're thinking that.
I see Pornhub pulled up on your computer.
No, that's about Russia taking away Pornhub for a different guest topic.
Sure.
Right.
Well, look, I mean, you got to do your research, guys. Speaking of research,
What a segue.
damn,
Nice.
fucking
Nice.
smooth, bro.
It's in the name.
What am I, Bob Saget? R.I.P. Greenpoint Research. Let's have you guys do your plugs. Where can people find y'all's main brand, which is Greenpoint, but your other subsidiaries, your sub brands, whatever you want to call them, extensions.
Subway franchises, maybe?
Robin, I'll let you take all that.
You got it. So right now, greenpointresearch.com is where you can find our corporate brand. And then, of course, you can find our consumer-facing cannabinoid brands online at www.steveitall.com for our CBD brand. And then our cannabinoid brand, Gramco, is thegramco.com. And you can also find those on Twitter, Instagram, etc.
And for those listening, they are in separate locations. So if there's a little pause in between, and then Robin's got a great framing of her ceiling.
How tall are you, Robin?
Oh, no, sorry. I have
Are
a
you
stand-up
3'6"?
desk. So I was trying to figure out
Oh,
what's
okay.
the right height.
We see a lot of this.
Yeah,
There we
all right.
go.
Now we got a
All
couch in the
right.
background. We
Is
know.
that better?
We know
Not
you
so
guys
much
sit.
ceiling.
Yeah.
Great.
It was the dad upshot on Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like, is this Zoom on? That kind
Yeah,
of.
no, you're right. Now we're good. Yeah, I
We're
just standing up, so
Good.
got to keep on the move.
So we had y'all on, and you were the CMO. Light, you're the chief legal counsel, I believe, is your title.
Chief Legal Officer. Yep.
Chief legal officer. Arrest me. No. But what we had so much we didn't talk about the last time you were on. If anybody wants to go back in the episodes, probably about 6 episodes ago, maybe 8,
Yes,
somewhere in
sure.
that ballpark. And Light and I ended up talking on the phone, which was almost like a part 2 to everything. We talked like little girls about, boys and stuff we didn't talk about on the show. And so I just kind of want to pick up where we left off. And we didn't ever talk about, and this should have been crucial, was the COVID-free strains of cannabis, cannabinoids. Tell me the difference again of the two.
Yeah.
But
So the cannabis plant has cannabinoids in it, like
Okay.
compounds. Like
Okay.
if you looked at the periodic table, like all of those elements and things are
so
found within.
if you have an alloy, iron is part of the alloy.
Yeah. So all of those are the building blocks that make other compounds called cannabinoids, which are found inside of cannabis. So the big one everyone's excited about is cannabigerol, CBGA. And I don't know how to spell it. Well, no, hold on.
It's important.
CANNABIGEROL. There you go.
He's back on Pornhub.
Well, I'm trying to find if they have some topics like that.
But CBGA is a compound that is not CBG, which is it's got an acid. The A stands for an acid, so there's an acid group on the compound.
Whoa.
Now
really
we're
get you
talking.
fucked up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So apparently, what the medical or what this report has said is that CBGA is a combatant with COVID. So if you are using cannabis and it has CBGA as one of the constituent components, then you're probably going to be you're not going to catch COVID or some of the strains of COVID. And it was funny, we were talking about this internally, and I was like, I wonder, okay, so if there are frequent users of cannabis in the company, and then non-frequent users that are in the company, or their partners, wives, husbands, and things like that, let's do a like informal poll, and everybody who was a frequent user of cannabis had not gotten COVID, and everybody who was an infrequent user of cannabis had gotten COVID when we did the poll like 2 or 3 months ago.
What's the sample
Yeah.
size? What are we talking?
Like 12. So
And
not really.
and if I work for you, I'm like, they're narking me out, dude.
Not falling for this shit.
I don't want them to know. Even if I have a legal card or any of that, no way. They're tracking me.
How
dude.
many people did you have that said I smoke weed all the time?
Well, I mean, we're a cannabis company. We're a hemp company. We have people that are using the products, and so that's not something that
I know it's not a negative. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean,
on that
I would
whole.
say, thinking about it so we identify frequent users or daily users, regular users or weekly users, and infrequent users or anybody that are kind of over that time frame. So like I'm an infrequent
Squares.
user. I'm
Gotcha.
taking a gummy, and watching, a movie every now and then. We've got people that are using cannabis on a daily basis for pain management or for anxiety and stuff like that work inside of the business. So we've got a good sampling size, and it's helped us. You guys are wearing Gramco products, and that's a Delta 8 brand. So the difference between like a Delta 8 high versus yep, get it up there. Where's your beach ball?
Don't need
We
it.
should have a beach ball in here. That's a great idea.
Between my
need beach
thighs.
balls.
Between my thighs, guys.
So the difference between a Delta 8 high versus a Delta 9 high, why would you have certain products that we come out with at Gramco, all of those things, we've got internal people that are excited about the product and looking at that type of stuff.
So the CBGA, the anti-COVID, is in the female side of cannabis to kind of get you high. It's not on the hemp side, or is it on both?
No, it's on both. So, I mean, cannabis, our director of ag likes to say it's a plant. A plant's a plant is a plant is a plant.
He's
He
very
says
high.
it that many times.
He's very high. We
And
should
then
note
he
that.
just trails
Just like
off
that.
and he takes a nap.
He's got
But,
OCD,
yeah.
but he smokes a lot, so he just keeps saying it until he falls
Yeah,
asleep.
Is a plan,
and
is a
but he's
plan,
really good.
is a-
He's got a lot of experience, and if you think about like the only difference between the medical marijuana side of cannabis and what we do is that there's a federal line in the sand that says you can't have more than 0.3% THC, Delta 9 THC. If you do, then you're no longer hemp. You're now classified as medical marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of these cannabinoids, CBG, CBD, CBN, THCO, all this stuff are found naturally occurring in both hemp as well as medical marijuana.
Robin, I want to ask you on the other side of this, the consumer side, what do they think is going on? Like, are people buying this under the impression, is there anybody out there competitor wise or just out there in general in the marketplace really hitting this home? Or is this
Hitting what home?
the sales pitch of less COVID,
Oh, okay.
the opportunity to not have COVID by these kind of strains, or is that a no-no?
There are a lot of no-nos, but that doesn't mean people aren't doing them.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we saw a lot on the internet and with competitors and even within our own ecosystem of people saying, hey, 2 joints to stop the spread. Well, that's not exactly how it works. However, it's fun from a cannabis company to be able to talk about it because COVID has been the hot topic for the last 2 years. So being able to tap onto something that's buzzworthy, I mean, it definitely gets attention. It was on all the late night shows the whole week. So if you were covering any type of trendy topic that week, you were talking about it. So yeah, we got a little bit of mileage out of it. In fact, we had a couple of promotions in the field that week, and it was probably about 30% of the content from one of them. So they were supposed to be talking about sports the whole time, but they were talking about this study. And for a lot of people, it was just a great way to talk about it. It was a great way to open up the dialogue. And it was,
Go ahead.
yeah, it's good.
I cut you off, but I was saying that would be great if the real vaccine was just smoking or ingesting the stuff.
Who says it's not?
Well, you got Pfizer's probably on it, I'm sure. But I don't know. It's one of those things. Eric, you didn't get it ever.
Never got it.
And
And I've smoked weed before.
a lot.
Yep.
Could be under it right now.
Yeah.
Anecdotal evidence, guys. It's everywhere.
Yep.
Well, I was like, I went to Eric a while back, maybe 2 years ago. I was like, hey man, they can just put keto on anything and that's legit. The FDA doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that shit. When you go to you're like, oh, this is a keto, whatever. There's a whole fucking section of it.
Right. Just eat one bite and it's keto.
And you're like, and then
Oh.
I like going around just eating pizza and going, hey, I'm keto.
They said it
As
was,
a joke.
It said keto on it.
Yeah, it's a keto pizza.
I don't give a shit how
It's
fat
fine.
you get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just find that, I don't know, in an age where everything's really regulated, it just, or false advertising or whatever, I guess it doesn't, when it's newish, maybe it has a grace period.
It has to have a grace period. But they'll
Well,
catch up
there's-
to it. They'll get theirs.
Yeah. I think Eric's exactly right. I mean, the grace period is coming to an end. We're getting, a lot of scrutiny from state regulators about, how our products are labeled and what we're putting on them. And that's happening across the industry. They're starting to get really, specific about, okay, does this batch match? So, thinking about it from a cannabis perspective, like we have another kind of ripple inside of not only the label, but like we have a certificate of analysis on our products. And that certificate of analysis has to match what's actually in that box that you buy. So not only, can you not say, hey, this will cure COVID on the box, which would be like a stated medical claim. So the FDA would, tear you a new asshole for having something like that on there. But, you also have to have this matching event of, hey, this batch is what we say it is. inside when you buy it, you're going to get a consistent feeling from whatever you're purchasing from us, and that's not, that product consistency has been something that's plagued the industry again in that grace period of this is new, people are figuring it out. But the the tide's turning. You're really going to see a lot of like FDA actions coming out. There was a whole round of them that came down a couple years ago where people had like straight up medical claims, like, smoke this pot, you'll go to sleep. It's better than Ambien. You're like, you can't. I mean, you could. I guess you could say that. You can't advertise it like that. That's a stated medical claim. So there's a lot of those specific kind of laws and regulations that you have to be careful of.
This is as sexy as compliance gets.
Exactly.
Everything else is so just when I'm sure you're right in the middle of a bunch of compliance stuff you always have to do, but that's about as fun as compliance gets, folks. If anybody's looking into that kind of career,
what a life to live! Looking over your shoulder all the time at the new rules,
reading the fine print on everything.
Right,
man.
Fine.
Banging your head against those regulations is tough.
Yeah. I mean, we know it from the digital side. We have to go through some of that for people, and it's just like, this
They're
sucks.
not. I mean, Google doesn't even let you say the word dispensary in an ad if you're a medical marijuana dispensary, and they don't tell you.
Or on your site.
They don't.
On
Oh
the
yeah, and you
on the
can't even
landing
have it
page.
on your site
If you
anywhere.
want ads to go to
right,
that.
if it goes to that.
Yeah,
site,
I mean, Robin, we're not allowed like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of those. Like all of our content has to be very specific, right? There's things that we can show, there's things that we can't show.
You need to be very
Absolutely.
lifestyle, right, Robin?
Yeah, I mean, they have community guidelines, and I feel like there's some bot behind the scenes. It's just like flagging stuff just whenever they want. But basically, community guidelines are you can't sell illegal products. Well, what we're selling is not illegal. However, if we get a flag X amount of times, they have to investigate and make sure we're not. Well, it's one thing if you're marketing hemp genetics to a farmer, easy peasy. You have a hemp plant up there. It makes a lot of sense. That's great. But then someone else can say, oh, you're advertising marijuana. Well, we're not, but we're flagged. So we definitely have to be mindful of that. And we have, just like, I don't know anyone in cannabis marketing that has not had their account flagged on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or removed. In fact, most people have a backup account just for that reason. So it's really challenging in social media for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to pitch you something for y'all's marketing mix.
There we go.
Well,
That's what this is all about.
I want to ask you about marketing mix and all that stuff, but I'll pitch you, how do you get the word out there with cheap influencers without having to go through influencers? And obviously we're comedy slanted. I bet you could find a lot of comics that you could sponsor their podcasts for maybe in kind, just so they have sponsors. We're not pitching us. I'm talking like
We're there.
bigger level comics. I mean, we're obviously company men. We're if anybody's watching on video, we're sporting the gear. But I'm saying you could probably get a lot of in-kind sponsorships to a lot of comics podcasts that do have. Here's what you want out of podcasts as an advertiser. You want someone that is authentic to their audience, which by default most comics are, even if they shoot themselves in the foot. You could kind of probably spread, if you were looking into that as a budget, you could probably spread that budget pretty good across a lot of comedians that could throw the lifestyle part of it out there for you as content creators too.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
These care packages, however much those cost, whip some more of those up and whatever it costs to ship them.
Shit, they're all loved by affirmation too. So all you have to do is go,
Oh
we
my
love
God, I
that
almost
you guys
cried when I got this box
You're right.
of stuff.
All you have to do is go, we
Amazing.
love that you're talking about it. We love that you're doing a great job. Here's a treat. Good boy.
Yeah.
Like that's all you'd have to do to really keep them in the game for free swag. I'm just throwing it out there. You could get, no, I'm not talking like your Rogans. I'm talking like, third tier kind of level. But headliners have a following, but maybe not so good at finding sponsors themselves. So throwing it out there. What is your marketing mix? How do you do this? You have guidelines online, obviously, that we just kind of went over. What do you do in the traditional space?
So it kind of depends on what our market is, whether it is the corporate brand with the genetics or one of our cannabinoid brands. Because candidly, our CBD audience is a lot different than our Delta 8 audience. There's some overlap, of course, but the way I would market CBD, like I said, it's different. They're more on Facebook. So we have, the traditional mix. So of course we have owned, we have paid, and we have shared, of course, things like that. So what you're talking about in terms of the community, we do have some of that. So recently with our Gramco, we have looked at emerging communities that are being gathered together online. And that's actually worked out really well for us because one, there aren't community guidelines for platforms that are really just emerging. So that's worked out well. And then two, it's an opportunity for people to organically talk about their experiences. People love to talk about cannabis experiences. So
Yeah, they do.
as you mentioned, it's kind of the perfect storm. So things like this podcast, we are definitely happy to talk with you guys. If you guys need more products, happy to share the love.
We will always take free product.
Yeah.
And we would do it even if either of us wasn't ingesting or smoking any of them. We just like what y'all are doing. I'm guessing what you mean by that is, your Facebook groups, right? Your maybe Discord, but that might be a younger audience. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe
Reddit for sure,
subreddits.
but you have to be an active Redditor to be able to kind of work your way into the conversation. You can't
the name would kill it in nursing homes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in Florida, it's right there. But
That's
I'm sure you want to meet people. Like, I'd be answering questions on Quora like crazy when people are trying to find that right CBD or whatever, a Delta 8 product.
Become a knowledge base for people. Just become the go-to authority. It's the best. I mean, I think.
And I'd be running polls on those things, taking that, making
Get
a
your
blog
own data.
post. Yeah, making a blog post, and then
Sell that shit.
that'll go up the SEO rankings because then it's a research poll. That's from Neil Patel. That's not for me.
No, you're absolutely right. And we've done some of that. Actually, we really engage with Twitter, specifically with Twitter Spaces. So we looked at Clubhouse and there was some engagement there, but Twitter Spaces, we really have blown it out of the park with a couple of spaces recently, but specifically we started off with our FSU spaces and built a community around National Signing Day and a lot of the football talk, so recruiting talk. People gathered every day. In some cases, we would have 900 and 1,000 on these talks talking about it.
That's like the chat roulette of podcasts. Like you can kind of that's what Clubhouse was to me. You just join in and listen as it's going live. And then maybe they'll ask questions for people that are listening. I got in it and I was like, I don't get it. It's not for me, but I understand why it exists.
They bring you up on the virtual stage.
Oh, right.
Oh, you sound like you know what you're talking about. Why don't you get up on this little thing?
Are we doing any meta? Are we doing any VR, AR kind of stuff?
Not yet.
Just thinking about it.
What are you you throw that out there? Do you have some kind of lead into what are you thinking for this?
I'm thinking I'm putting myself in Robin's shoes, and if I'm trying to look at the next thing that you can maybe get the best value out of as someone, I'm assuming with a limited budget or a budget you wish was huge, and you're always trying to find if you can get that next platform or that next thing that like Twitter Spaces or the thing that catches fire, if you can ride that wave when it's starting to crest, right? Like a lot of people
kind of get in early and then you get that to that level and then it carries over to other social media networks.
We keep talking about Twitch for this show like it's new,
right?
But it's new to us. It's fully mature, and we're way out of the game on that. But or YouTube or some things that we're just fuck it, we're not there, you know. But if we find something new that we found engaged for the show, we'd be riding that shit all the way. So for y'all, I didn't know if there's anything where you're like, what's the next, call it almost future modeling of where you could be marketing. I didn't know if any investment or ideas in that world.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the fact that people are now gathering after COVID and they're meeting in person, I think experiential opportunities are probably one of the number one opportunities. So it's one thing to talk about it online. It's another to be in person, actually experiencing the products with your friends, which is something people have really missed a lot over the last 2 years. So I think that's probably the number one thing over the next couple of years.
Well, and we're big proponents of snail mail. Like we talk a lot of digital in the show, but snail mail is still, if you could give them something good in the mail that they're not expecting, that is your audience, right? Let's say you nurture that audience, you have their address and stuff.
Like maybe a scratch and sniff.
Oh, I love a scratch off, even if it's a car dealership that I'm never going to.
Scratch and sniff is different than scratch off, but a scratch off is cool
Or
too.
both.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, we got to make
What
that.
does that shit smell like, the scratch off stuff?
Lead.
We have to find out immediately.
It doesn't smell like a Hyundai, I'll tell you that.
What were we talking about?
No, but I'm saying, like, what do you get in the mail that's good that you don't know is already coming?
Yeah, the mail has now come back around that you can take advantage of it and send somebody something, and it's like this new crazy thing.
Right.
Nobody does that.
That's why the handwritten letter's such a big deal. We push it a lot on this show. Light, what are you thinking marketing restrictions wise on the feedback side? I know you kind of touched on this, but is there anything from the customer side that you're trying to get in the mix compliance wise to use? Let's say testimonials. How do you do that?
Testimonials are one of the best things for us. I mean, we've got, on the website, we post, testimonials on, part of our social platform, actually taking testimonials that are verified from customers through Shopify and putting those up. Again, testimonials are actually the best way for people to describe their experience without the brand making a non-FDA compliant statement. So for instance, Eric in Tampa loves the gummies because they make his shoulders not hurt after a workout.
They look buff on video. Yeah.
Yep.
They look great when he takes the sleeves off of shirts, and so that's
all white trashy like we're doing.
Right.
Well, but that testimonial.
Light knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
He knew these sleeves were coming off. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean those are actually one of the best ways that we can interact with people from a feedback perspective. The other interesting part to it is trying to understand, what is the next, like, not the brand extension for what we currently have. Like our current offering, we have watermelon gummies, and watermelon gummies, they taste great. I like the taste, but people are saying, well, yeah, watermelon's great, but like I really like fruit punch. I really like blue raspberry. Kind of the, what are the next things that people want of those same types of products? And so that's been kind of a feedback thing that we've been soliciting, and it's been good. The Twitter Spaces part, because you're getting to hear people. People are talking about their experience. Granted, it's within this kind of framework for college football and recruiting, but the groups we've engaged with have done an awesome job about talking about the products, soliciting feedback real time from people that are listening in to say, hey, what do you like? What is something that how could this be better? And so, we've got blue raspberry and tropical punch gummies coming out from feedback that we got 30 days ago.
Something just, I don't mean this to be an all pitch ideas show episode, but you're in a unique position where you're vertically integrated. You should really market the fact that you will take ideas from your audience and spin them into actual movement and not just bullshit. Like if you can go, we really actually do listen to you and we'll do your idea.
Yeah, this is Frank's blue raspberry gummies.
Not
We'll
like
throw his name on it.
Like the opposite of like
pants.
the M&M color thing when they're like,
Right.
you pick the color, and it's like billions of people going, I want green.
Right.
And it's like, who gives a shit anyway?
And who's counting these votes?
But you could really make yours the brand of people expressing ideas with a product that helps you create ideas and really express those ideas. Just throwing it out there. I want to make sure before we sign off, we make sure we get in. You have a 420 promotion. Before we get into that, I want to ask, we're kind of trying to make this work with spring break is now. I don't know. Everybody's got different spring break. I don't know if Eric read the
Next
pre-show notes.
week no, I did not, and I told you I would not.
He's allergic to him, I guess.
I'm sorry, I was busy setting up all the cameras and whatnot.
That's cool. That's cool. That's delegation of duty. I was fine helping with the pre-pro. I'll ask the question. I'll vamp to give everybody a little bit of time to answer their own. What's the craziest spring break story you have? Yeah, I'll let you think. Mine was 2006. We rented an RV coming out of Auburn. Rented an RV with 5 other guys, and we called it Horror Tour 2006. I got very little ass on this, so it was kind of
Ironic,
yeah, it was kind of, I should have had compliance on that. But we got, and here's, this will dovetail into, we should have smoked more. We should have done more weed related issues, more cannabis kind of things.
Always.
Because we all took shifts driving. My friend Lincoln got so drunk after his shift was over, and I was driving, and then he passed out in the driver captain seat up there. And then he passed out, so we drew on him.
He passed out in the driver's seat while you were driving?
You know, it's the passenger seat. There's like the driver's seat, passenger seat, and they're different.
I like the visual of him sleeping on your lap while you drive.
Oh, that could have Light knows him, so that very well could have happened. Of course, he passed out in front of guys, which is the dumbest idea, especially when the rest of the car is drinking, the RV. And
with nothing to do.
Right. So they drew penises all over him, swastika, because that's what you do. And when we went, we actually stopped in Tampa, the Steak and Shake across from Plant High School in the middle of the night. And we got him to do the Heil Hitler. Not knowing, he was just thinking it was just, we're waving at people. And we made him a Hitler mustache to make it worse.
Sure.
And he didn't know, and then he was pretty upset after he found out and saw the video of it that we took.
Or a mirror.
He's like, no, well, I remember that. He saw his reflection in the glass, and he's like, oh, fuck. Then we drove to the Keys. He got pissed at us, and then we drove to the Keys, stayed in an RV park with all the conks that live in Key West, which are pretty much old gays, and then stayed there. It was a gay old time, but it was
2 months.
We drank a little too much, and I would say we could have. I'll leave a lot out of this for legal purposes. Light, you are my counsel on this, but we could have chilled it out a little bit more by having a little bit more weed, a little bit more cannabis involved to kind of calm down.
So you're cool just leaving the story at, we got too drunk in Key West where we were staying in the trailer park with all the old gays. Let's just leave it at that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, enough. We could have chilled out the old gays too.
Well, Law's gay.
Got hit on me a bunch. I guess I put out those vibes, Light, you have a crazy spring break story?
Yeah, so I was reading the pre-show notes, and like one came to mind. Well, I've got like one that's like the most illegal thing I've ever done. And then another that involves my wife. Actually, she told me the story. It's not me personally. It's the funniest thing that I've heard that's happened on spring break to a person that I know. So, which do you prefer?
Both.
The funny one.
Yeah, the funnier one. If we have to choose one, funny.
Well, okay, so same type of thing with Key West. Went down with some of the Sig Ep guys, and I didn't know this at the time, but you can get arrested and put in prison for multiple years for jumping on and pulling turtles out of the water.
Oh yeah.
So turtle molestation is a thing. Didn't know that at the time, but we're riding.
Well, that's in Spanish. Do not disturb the turtles. Is moleste tortugas or something like that.
So that was one. So driving on a boat, see a large turtle. Another Sig Ep who will remain nameless for legal purposes dives in.
Gets on swastika on him, Hitler mustache.
There's technically no Sig Ep at Auburn anymore, so you're kind of clear.
That's true.
They got kicked off for cocaine in 2016, so we're fine.
Yeah. They were having too much fun, but but okay. So that's the most illegal thing I've ever done, and then the funniest story I've ever heard is my wife is from Ohio. She went to Ohio University, big party school, had a lot of fun. Goes on a spring break trip with so that she lived in a house of all girls, or like 6 girls, and then they lived next to a house of all guys. The 12 people got into a van, drove to Fort Lauderdale. On the first night of spring break, when they're in Fort Lauderdale, at Fort Lauderdale Beach, the guys are like, "Oh, it's going to be great. Let's go to the strip club." They all pile into the van. They go to the strip club. My wife doesn't want to be there. She's at the time, she's weirded out. She's still weirded out by it, but goes in. All the guys are messing with her. They get the main stage stripper named Isis to come over, give
Terrifying.
Maddie a lap dance, and in the middle of the lap dance, Isis, the stripper, does a handstand in front of Maddie and throws her butt up and smashes Maddie's nose with her tailbone, breaks her nose,
called it a dirty bomb.
starts bleeding in the strip club and on the stripper at like 2 a.m. at night on the first day of spring break.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try it. I don't.
Robin, can you beat that?
I cannot beat that. No, you guys win. And if I can, I'm not going to share it in a public platform.
Sure. So you're gonna
Yeah.
you're
We're not
gonna pass.
recording. You can just tell us this. We're not recording anymore.
I think Maddie's going to kill me now that I've said that, now that I know that this is for forever.
No, don't. We'll bleep it out.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thanks.
Sure.
Google how to bleep stuff.
How do we bleep video? Eric, you got anything?
Not really. Not that's gonna top that.
Well, you don't have to top it.
I didn't
You
do
just be-
a lot of good spring. I didn't go any. I mean,
Just drink by yourself.
yeah,
You could have used some of this stuff instead.
I know.
That's how we're. That's how
My
we're
life
spinning.
is spring break, bruh.
All right. Well, how about before we close it out? What is your 420 promotion? I'll let Robin take it.
All right, awesome. So 420 is actually 1 year since we launched our cannabinoid brand, Graham Co. So we're very excited since the initial launch in Fort Lauderdale. We, by that time, we'll have at least 10 products on the shelf. So for 420, we'll be out in at least 7 different sports markets and all over Florida talking about all of our cannabinoid products, including our gummies, which are by far our most popular product, and then also our coffee. So our wake and bake coffee that is formulated directly with Colombian coffee beans and then Delta 8 from Florida. So we're excited to talk about our 1 year anniversary for 420. We hope everyone can celebrate with us and order some new products. So we will be working with some of the spring football games with Florida State University and others. And we'll have some, I'll send you guys the links whenever we have it available, but there'll be some on-site promotion as well.
I was going to ask, where's the call to action promo code? What do we got going? I guess.
Smart hit the spring games. They're not paying that much attention in the spring,
Yeah.
so you can actually get their attention.
And you might want to get Miami involved, the U. They might have some guys that are down with this message as well.
They have Delta 8
We
cocaine.
are definitely.
Well, I want a U chain. I want a turnover chain. But yeah, y'all give us any more info. We'll put it in as an episode sponsor in upcoming episodes. But we're out of time. Thanks for coming back on. There's much more to talk about that we didn't get to. But any last words? Oh, we didn't ask Robin this because this is her first time on. What advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
2 pieces of advice. 1, don't get the perm. I already have naturally curly hair, so there's really no good reason at all to get a perm, but it is what it is at the time. And
Girl, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, like what do you do? Like
And it
it's too much.
stinks when you get it. Oof.
Yeah, like you guys remember, did you guys have mullets?
Have mullets.
No, what do you? I mean, I'm pretty close at this point. But
He's
oh,
got
and
a-
I did have a mullet for sure. I've got a
Did you have
kindergarten
like the
picture that
perm
kicks
mullet?
ass.
Because there were people that had that.
Oh God, I
No.
wish.
My dad had a perm
Really?
for years.
K-Bone?
Yeah,
We gotta
it's
find that.
hilarious. Well, I'll find you a picture.
What would you time travel back, see your 13-year-old self? What would you tell it? Tell yourself. It itself.
Yeah, definitely.
Just no perm.
No perm. That's it. I thought you had a second
Yeah,
one.
no perm, and don't be distracted by boys. They're very distracting.
Oh, I said that too for myself. Don't be distracted by cute boys.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for coming back on. You guys are great. Bye to everybody. We love everybody. We're high.
Thanks, guys.
I never know.
Bye,
how to
thank
end
you.